Bacon time. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dads with Bacon talking sports, and this is the first full weekend of college football. So, welcome to this episode, August 31st, 2023. Hopefully everybody's seeing this because we're having a few technical difficulties here, but oh, sorry, I'm just reading the little note that came up here, but we're going to keep plugging through. So hopefully everybody's seeing this on Facebook for sure. This week we're going to be giving our previews for the NFL, or our predictions for some over and under and things like that, along with who we think is going to be in the Super Bowl, the playoffs. Maybe even talk about some postseason awards like MVP, Coach of the Year, that kind of thing. We're also going to have Ben giving us a little bit of a recap of AEW's All In from last weekend. I think he has something to say about CM Punk, so we're going to let him do that, and then talk a little bit again about college football this opening weekend. So a full football episode, which seems to be what everybody likes anyway, because we're in America and we all love football anyway. So bring on everyone here. We got Troy, we got Brad, we got Big Tex TJ, and we got Big Ben. How you guys are doing?
Doing good, thank you.
Ready to rock, man. Working for the 3-day weekend.
Nice. Yep. Yeah, it's always nice to have a shorter or longer weekend, shorter week. So, all right. Well, let's get started here, because we had well, first of all, anyone have anything to add about last week's two college? Well, I shouldn't say two. There were more than two, but we had the two big college football games were the Notre Dame game and USC. Not really sure if we had any surprises there, though. I think USC did show that their defense is pretty much the same as it was last year. So
yeah, I'm going to be a jerk.
Yeah, TJ, go ahead.
TJ, what the hell, man? I was looking for those special plays, looking for something.
Yeah, Navy. What the hell?
What happened, man?
It's Navy, not the Navy SEAls. All right, let's get this straight.
Whoa. But hey, now we talked about Navy last week, and I heard a very reputable source, TJ, mention how these little wrinkles are going to be there, and I didn't see a wrinkle. I saw broken plays.
I saw a lot of wrinkles.
You were blind as a bat, sir. There were a lot of wrinkles in there. They just need to be ironed out a little bit better.
Okay. New khakis are needed, sir. New khakis are needed.
Those wrinkles come courtesy of the Golden Domers. So let's get this right. No, hey man, I said it last week. I think they were smoke Navy, and that's exactly what they did, and that's exactly what they should have done. They should have put them to no touchdowns at all. Their defense, again, it's new Navy, so let's take that with a grain of salt. You got Tennessee or something like that this weekend. You're not going to get anything out of the Irish. The first big test is OSU. I think that's going to be the exciting, definitely the primetime game.
Well, so in this weekend we have a full slate, but let's actually get back here. I always love when I always love when I'm the one that says, well, this is what we'll start with, and then I completely start with something else. So that's it's kind of my MO. Anyway, so let's get to the NFL. This week was cut downs. And so now we pretty much know. I mean, obviously, there's always a few wrinkles. Jonathan Taylor is still he's on the PUP list right now. And Brad, I want to get your opinion on this, because, of course, here in Green Bay there was talk. I think it came out yesterday that supposedly the mystery team that was interested in Jonathan Taylor was the Packers. Now I heard this morning that supposedly Gutekunst offered AJ Dillon and a 3rd-round pick for Jonathan Taylor. Dang. And the Colts came back and said, we want AJ Dillon, Christian Watson, and your number 1 pick, or your 1st-round pick. And it sounds like Gutekunst pretty much just hung up the phone. He didn't even bother saying no.
Absolutely.
So what I wanted to ask you, Brad, since you live in Indy, and I think you said your wife is a Colts fan, correct?
Yep. Been listening to a lot of sports talk lately, because it is a hot commodity right now.
Yeah, for sure. And now, to me, what that tells me, I mean, because there's no way that, and I don't know if Gutekunst, I'm assuming he talked to was it Ballard? Is that the name of the GM?
Yeah, Chris Ballard.
Yeah, Chris Ballard. I'm assuming it was Ballard he was talking to. And of course, Gutekunst will never confirm any of this stuff, but I would assume Ballard's smart enough to know that they weren't going to go for that. So my question is this: was that a way of pretending to show Jonathan Taylor that, yeah, we're trying to trade you like you want to, but really not? Like where sometimes you really don't want to do it. So it's like, well, we'll go through the motions. We'll throw something out there that they'll never agree to.
I think that's the impression that a lot of people are getting. But I also think it's kind of what, Jonathan Taylor deserves a little bit of his just desserts by putting himself in this situation to where, let's be honest that, you are a high profile back. You're one of the best in the league when you're healthy. But at the same time, that it has been 1,000,000% obvious across the NFL that they are not going to be dropping big contracts on running backs anymore.
Yeah.
Because they get hurt, they break down. Next thing you know, you're on the hook for all this money. The Colts first, number one, they put their foot in their mouth to start the whole situation. Let's get that out the board. That wasn't Jonathan Taylor coming out and requesting a trade before then. He was clearly thinking about it, but after that, he's like, nah, no way. Second is Jonathan Taylor's holding out for all the wrong reasons. I mean, if you're wanting to make like franchise tag money or close to that, that's what you should be looking for, not something like Derrick Henry money, because again, that Derrick Henry money ain't coming around.
Bro, hold on a second there though. My problem is this: you've got a guy who has a chance to hold out right now to preserve his body to get that money, that franchise tag money for multiple years. He has no leverage but holding out. He deserves to be looking at a franchise tag ×4 contract.
How'd that work out for Le'Veon Bell?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and he's the one that came to mind when I was thinking about that earlier today. After I heard the what they asked the Packers for is, can he afford to? I mean, Brad, I'll go back to you since you're right there. Can you see Jonathan Taylor sitting out the entire season?
No way.
No.
I mean,
Okay.
there's no way. I mean, at that age, and he's still making like $4 million and change. So it's not like it's nothing.
Sure.
So as a young athlete like that, I mean, you get used to making money. You're going to continue to make it. I think the money will be too tempting over the long run. But I also think that in this pup time, I think this is going to be a serious reflection on the Colts. Like, are they truly going to finally tip their hand and rid of him or not? And
sure.
and if they don't, then I mean, you're going to be playing with a disgruntled player all year long, and that's going to seep over into your team. And I would bet the under in regards to total wins in Vegas.
For sure. Okay.
Now, what year is he on? The last year of his contract? Is that?
Yeah, but
this is a 5th-year option or no?
No, he's a second-round pick, so there's no first-year option.
Oh, he was a second-round pick. Okay.
Yep, and in addition to that they can franchise tag him for 2 years. You can do that to any player.
Yeah.
So it's again the Colts have 100% all the leverage, literally all the leverage, and I think Taylor's kind of put himself in a rock and a hard place right now.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
I think the Colts are overvaluing his value, though. Honestly, I mean, if they're asking for, I mean, I'm hearing they wanted Waddle and a pick or something like that from the Dolphins, or maybe it was Waddle straight up. I don't know.
That's the whole point. They're not really wanting to trade, though. That's the evidence right there. If you're asking for Watson or Waddle in a trade, you're not really asking for a trade. It's kind of like that fancy trade you throw out there for the other guy's full team,
just to see
one player.
And I think a Waddle for Taylor is actually slightly comparable. If Jonathan Taylor is truly valued as a top 5 back in the league, which clearly when he's healthy and he's playing, he is. That I think Jalen Waddle's worth. I mean, he's a top 10 receiver. I don't think he's a top 5 receiver.
But Waddle has 10 years left and Taylor has 5.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. The length of how long you're going to have them players is noticeably different.
Very true. Very true. You still got Tyreek Hill, though.
You do.
Well, no, not really. He said he's done in 2 years, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, so now let's talk about, I guess, the rest of the league. That's kind of gotten all of our attention, or most people's attention. What I want to do is, because again, I mentioned in the intro, we've already kind of given, and I know a few things have changed here and there since we've done some of the divisional previews. But I guess what I want to do is go around the room here, and each of you give me one storyline. At first, I was going to tell you guys make a list of like 3 or 4 storylines, but that'll take forever. So let's just do one storyline each, or one thing that you're really looking forward to for this upcoming season. It could be, from the team that you always cheer for, or it could be just like a general NFL kind of thing. So, I don't know, Ben, why don't we start with you?
All right, my storyline is Lamar Jackson can throw. So looking at the team right now, you got OBJ, Zay Flowers added to that receiving core.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson has had multiple years of injury issues, and now you're set up where you have 2-3 deep on tight end. You have clearly top options across the board at wide receiver: Rashad Bateman, OBJ, Zay Flowers, and you still have Duvernay right there as well. So you have a very qualified receiving options as well as a strong run game. So if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm saying, number one, I can stay healthy. Number two, I can throw the dang ball. And I think that's where we see Lamar Jackson surpass 4,000 yards passing this year. And that'll be the storyline we see. MVP for Lamar Jackson.
You think he'll get MVP?
I do.
Okay, TJ.
Yeah, I'm your hate, bud. I'm your hate.
TJ obviously disagrees with you on that one. TJ, what's your
running a Navy offense?
Exactly. Let's get that triple option going.
Go Irish.
All right, TJ, what's your storyline?
So my storyline is going to be screw the Ravens. No, my storyline is to see how the Commanders do this season with the new ownership, and if that'll actually improve the outlook for their future, because there's so much swarming around them this year that I feel like it's going to be almost too much for them, to where I feel like the season will slip underneath them so fast because they're going to be so focused on, new stadium, renovations to the stadium. Are we bringing back the Redskins, or are we not bringing back the Redskins? I feel like there's just so much on this plate. I mean, it's literally it's 50 pounds of shit in a 2-pound bag. I mean, it's literally how I would say it right now. And I just want to see, I think the biggest thing right now would be are the Commanders actually going to have a season worth people talking about, or is this still going to be the same thing as the Dan Snyder era of, yeah, you can put some wins together, but you can't really get too far. So I feel like, Commanders are going to be ones that I kind of watch over a little bit more this year.
If they do anything, it'll be in spite of Ron Rivera, because he has proven over the last couple of years that he's lost everything as a head coach. Like,
I disagree.
Did you hear the latest quote that he's talking about Sam Howell last year, and that if I would have known this guy was that good, I would have had him in long ago. Like, what are you watching during practice? Are you not watching your players? Like, what is happening here?
Look, I'll disagree with you here entirely, and I'll agree with TJ here. I think that the Commanders are a fun storyline to watch because you have so many moving parts to this, including new ownership. I think Rivera. My question for TJ is does Rivera survive the whole season? I personally think he does, but I think it's a level where he is a 500 coach. He is Marvin Lewis 2.0, and that's the problem he's going to face. He's going to be just enough to be competitive, a good guy you want to cheer for, who can't get it done. But TJ, what are your thoughts on does Rivera make it to Week 18?
So, I was hit with that question today at work, and how did I know it was going to come up today when I said something about the Commanders? Honestly, I don't. I see him going to about Week 10, and they're letting him go. I think that he's probably going to go. I mean, I think there's a bye in that 10 weeks that they're there. But I feel like they're probably going to go like 3-7, if not 2-8, and they're going to let him go. And then they're going to project something for the future for the Commanders.
So part 2, does Bieniemy get the job finally?
Yes, I feel like he would step in as the interim head coach.
Would he get the permanent job, do you think?
I feel like it would depend. So I think you got to look at it this way. It would depend on what he can do for the remainder of that season. So if they go 10 games, they got 8 games left. Let's say he goes 2-2. They'll give him a shot for next season. Let him do his thing because they see some type of potential there. But if he were to have, let's see, hold on, I said 8 games and I said 2-2. Wow, I feel stupid this morning.
I wasn't going to call it out. You're good, buddy.
Yeah.
8 games.
We knew what you
he
meant,
goes
500.
2-6. Yeah. So, he goes 2-6. I feel like, maybe they would say, nah, not worth it. 4-4, yes. If he goes 8-0 after that, dude, they're going to keep him and be like, yep, you definitely have got the job. So I think he's either going to shoot himself in the foot or he's going to let everything go.
I feel like if they give Bieniemy a chance, though, I don't see any way that they would. I don't know, and maybe I'm looking at it a little too much, like, from a public perspective. But you have an African American coach, you're giving him a chance, basically throw him in the fire in the middle of the year, and then even if he goes 2-6, especially if they have a chance to get like a Caleb Williams, if they actually do worse than Arizona. Which I'm not sure if that's possible. What?
He goes past that, though, because you're talking about a guy who's been overlooked for so many jobs now.
That's what I'm saying. I think if Rivera doesn't last the year and they do give it to Bieniemy, I don't see them just being like, okay, you're going to finish up the year and then we're going to go to somebody else. I'd be surprised if they did. Not that they wouldn't, but especially with Magic Johnson being in that new ownership group, that has to be, that has to have some kind of a, effect on that. So,
and I feel like
there is one problem, though. As much as Bieniemy might deserve that chance, their defensive coordinator is a former head coach and has experience as a head coach. It's Jack Del Rio. So I don't know how you wouldn't go with him in that instant.
I think if you've seen what Jack can and can't do,
I agree, but I think you would let him finish out that season and then look for a new coach the next year.
I think the point we've all made here at this point is that the optics of going with the white experienced guy does send the wrong message. Like it or not, it does.
Yeah.
And I think that you're looking at Bieniemy, everyone's talked about him for the last 5 years about how he's missed every single job he's applied for that they thought he was qualified for. So, I mean, I think the funniest part is that players are worried he's too intense. Nut up, Buttercup. I mean, that if I'm a fan, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me a Rich Bisaccia. Give me an Eric Bieniemy. Give me a guy who's going to go out there and make me play. A Tom Coughlin. Go out there and get the most of your players. But I hear you. I'm not disagreeing with you entirely. I'm just saying that I think that Bieniemy.
I would be worried if I was Bieniemy because I don't know that I would want to come in and get that job halfway through the season.
But why else would he go to that job in the first place then? Why do you leave Kansas City to go to Washington?
Well, just to prove that he can do it without Reed, and then hopefully get another interview with another team the following year.
That's true.
Okay, yeah. That's fair. Yeah.
Okay, why don't we go with what's your storyline for the year?
I think there's 2 divisions here where we could literally have 3 teams separated by a game fighting for these division leads. I think one of them is the NFC North. And I think the other one is actually the AFC North. I think both the North divisions are going to be very tight coming down to the wire here. So I'm kind of looking to see some tight division races this year. I felt like we haven't had that many recently, so I think we're going to have some this year. So that's kind of exciting. And then just a little bonus storyline for me is, does Arizona become the first team to go 0-17 in a 17-game season?
Yeah, that is a good step, and I think there's a very good chance that might happen. That team just looks, I don't know, that it looks absolutely awful. But what was that? What was that?
Back to TJ's previous call.
Oh,
I got to harass a little bit here, guys. I'm sorry, but TJ's.
Yeah, he's awfully quiet right now. Okay, all right.
Brad, imagine if Arizona gets that number 1 pick, that within a 6-year period that they'll have the number 1 pick 3 times and then blow them all on QBs.
What's the third one?
Like it's either 6 or 7 years. It's no more than 7 years. That between like who they have, Josh Rosen, and then the next year immediately got Kyler Murray. Yeah. And then now you're 4 years into the Kyler Murray project, which is gone awry. Is that about as it can go? Right. And so now again, the next following year, you got Caleb Williams. I mean, you're going to ditch Kyler Murray after.
And
this.
would they do the same thing they did with Murray too? And would they get rid of what's his name, the defensive coordinator they just hired from the Eagles? Oh my gosh, I think of his name. Who the heck they get?
Sirianni?
Jeremy Gannon, right? Isn't that it?
Yeah.
I think that's their head coach now,
Yeah.
Gannon.
Yeah.
But anyway, would they fire him 1 year in, draft Caleb Williams, and then try to get Lincoln Riley?
No, man. I can't see it.
I'm just saying that's what they did with Kingsbury.
I could actually see that. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time a team has done that to a coach. I mean, hell, Denver didn't even give Hackett a whole season. I mean, we've seen Spurrier or not Spurrier with the
Saban?
coach
Urban Meyer.
Nick
Urban
Saban?
Meyer. Thank I keep
Well,
always
he did that
forget
to
Urban Meyer.
himself, though.
Oh, I know, but still, I mean, until Urban Meyer, I don't remember a team ever. I mean, the Packers got rid of Ray Rhodes after a full season, but I don't remember a team ever, just being like, "Well, we made a mistake. We got to cut and run right now. We don't care."
I remember Nick Saban
like
quitting.
10. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's different. That's different. I mean, I'm just thinking. Usually, teams give a coach a full year, but I could see them going to get Lincoln Riley if they actually get Caleb Williams.
After the night before saying that he wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Yep.
and then
Nick
2
Saban.
nights later he's in what? Where did he go? Alabama.
I
Alabama.
think he
Yeah,
asked the Ursays how to pull that off.
yeah.
We're not going anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think to wrap the storyline.
Yeah, what's yours,
thing
Brad?
up, that I think it's going to be all about the JETS, Jets, and the thing is that it's, in my opinion, this has been so hype. This has been made such a big deal. I never say this about any team because it's so hard to do it. If they don't win the Super Bowl, it is a lost season. There is so much pressure. There is so much hype. There is so much pomp and circumstance and flash around Aaron fucking Rodgers that
He owns you. He owns you.
again, no, he doesn't own me anymore. And bottom line is, if they don't win it all, it is a fail.
Well, let me ask you guys this: do you remember if there was this much hype when Favre went to the Jets?
Nowhere near.
No.
Not even
think-
close.
I mean, I know they didn't have Hard Knocks so that they could do like a whole
The last time I
promotional-
remember a team getting this hyped up after they went in and got a bunch of free agents was that 2012 with the Eagles?
Yeah, dude. That's
Yeah.
And that team just
What
went
about-
to bed.
about
Defensive,
Tampa
like then they
Bay?
have like the defensive all-world team, and
Well,
then
True. Tampa Bay kinda. Yeah. I mean they went after Brady, but they didn't.
When they went after Brady, everybody was hyped up on there. It was like, yeah, they're winning the Super Bowl.
And
Sure
they
enough,
did.
NFL was like, you know what? We'll throw the whole season to give him the Super Bowl first season there.
But I will say this: I think that with Brady, and I'm if there's Brady fans listening, it might piss them off a little bit, but I think there's a
There's
lot of
Brady fans
there's a
there that
handful of
I'm saying.
quarterbacks that could have gone to Tampa Bay, and I'm not saying necessarily maybe not win a Super Bowl, but could have done a hell of a job because that team barely missed the playoffs the year before, and they had Jameis Winston, who turned the ball over 40 times himself
Right.
that year. I mean, he had 30 interceptions and 10 lost fumbles himself. And I think they still went like 7-9, or I mean, they barely missed the playoffs. They almost made, so.
And he likes to eat them W's, man.
Oh, yeah.
Crab legs.
famous James.
W's, man.
Anyway, but I just, everyone made a big deal was like, oh, that was all Brady. And I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Tom Brady because the guy is he just finds ways to win. But at the same time, I think if you put, like I said, you could have put Aaron Rodgers, and people might roll their eyes when I say this, he could have done just as well with that Tampa Bay team. I think,
Agreed.
all they needed was a quarterback that didn't fuck up 40 times. And they, and they would have been a hell of a lot better even the year before. So, but I do agree there was a lot of hype behind that team. But yeah, I mean, the Hard Knocks, I don't know if you guys watched it at all. I actually watched it. I enjoyed it. But my God, especially that very first episode just seemed like an Aaron Rodgers hype tape.
And
it
you know
was
what?
like
And-
50 minutes of, God, this guy's amazing. Oh my gosh.
And you guys can tell me because you guys are in Green Bay and see him more often or not. But
Yeah.
to me, that didn't feel like the real Aaron Rodgers.
Look, this is
Yeah.
I have to laugh because everyone hated him. Everyone in the media hated Aaron Rodgers. He's washed last year. He goes to the Jets and he's now a god again. Come on, man. Which one is it? Like, it's so ridiculous to me watching the turncoats on going from like just running him down all year last year to he goes to New York and now it's all of a sudden he's a god. No, man. Like, he's good. He was good last year too, but it's not because he's at the Jets. It's because he's Aaron Rodgers. The guy is smart. The guy is accurate. He is not what he used to be, but he's still phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I understand what you're saying, Troy, because there were a few times I heard a lot of people in Green Bay saying that, like, God, it doesn't even seem like the guy that we knew and everything. I do think there is something to be said for, being rejuvenated. I mean, I think, we've all probably been in a situation where we've been at a job we hated. And then, you're just like, you end up maybe either getting a different position at that job or you go to a different company and all of a sudden you're like full of energy. And I mean, I know it's happened to me before plenty of times when I've gotten burned out at a certain job. I could see there being a little bit of a, like a fresh start, so I do think he was a lot better. I think the national media did a hell of a job making him seem like an asshole. I don't think he was really that bad of a guy. I think he's a really good human being. I mean, and they made him seem like just this arrogant prick. I don't necessarily, buy that, but I do think there was some camera, stuff going on for the cameras that people saw on Hard Knocks. So anyway, were you going to say something, Brad? Or?
No, I was going to say enough of a team that's not going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I will. Let me just. We'll wrap up the storyline for me.
To get loaded in the AFC was stupid because to come out of the AFC is going to be.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If you by the time the playoffs roll around, you're hardened. Playing in the AFC for playoff football. I mean, a hell of a lot more than you are in the NFC. But to me, my storyline, and I'm surprised, and maybe TJ didn't say this because I was kind of encouraging everyone to go with something away from like their home team. I'm interested to see what goes on with Trey Lance in Dallas. And I know we kind of, I mean, that happened the day after we talked about it last week on the show and kind of all laughed about like Dallas. And I think TJ was even like, of course, everyone mentions Dallas because you got to mention Dallas. And then sure shit, it happens. All of a sudden he's in Dallas. I guess, why don't real quick, TJ, give us your thoughts on what exactly, I mean, is this, I can't imagine this is Jerry's way of putting Dak on notice because he's had Dak's back for his entire career, but is that kind of what he's doing or what? I mean,
if this is putting Dak on notice, Jerry Jones is blind and he eats too much Viagra because the girls that he's been seen with recently are just ridiculous. I think honestly, I'm hot takes right now because I am about 3 of these in. It's been a long day.
Nice.
I honestly, Jerry Jones is senile old man, and he should just be kicked out. The Cowboys will never do anything with him under the reins anymore, or with the reins in his hands.
I agree with you 100% on that.
So, with him bringing in Trey Lance and letting go of Will Grier, which Will Grier had a hell of a last game.
Yep.
It set me off, and when he brought him, I was like, okay, maybe, I still think Trey Lance is washed up completely. I mean,
washed. When did he get started?
He's washed. He's washed. Fight me all you want. Come to Maryland, I'll swing.
Let's go, bro.
Fight me all you want. He's washed. He's not coming into Dallas even thinking about starting. Let alone he'll be down on the practice squad. He'll boo-hoo and cry, say he wants to go to another team. They're going to let go of a good second or third string quarterback for him to get washed even more. He's been put through the wrench cycle 13 times already, and he'll be put through it 13 times more. Screw this kid. He never should have came to Dallas.
All right. We got your opinion on that. Let's go to the. I asked for it.
You did.
I did. I will say this. I gotta put this. I don't know who this was. He's watching Gary's balls. So
Trey Lance's.
High five.
Yeah, Trey Lance.
High five whoever you are. Yes, he is.
That's my buddy Jason. He's a good friend of mine I've grown up with, man. He's probably drinking.
Jason, I love you.
Is he the same one that said beer 7 here? That
Yes.
must be okay.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Like I said, I'll be interested to watch. I mean, just it shocked me when I heard it, especially after with TJ, with you were so adamant that there is no way in hell Dallas should even be on the list of possible places for him. And frankly, I agree with you, which is again why I was like, I don't even know what you're going to do with him.
It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
It doesn't. Yeah. So all right, let's do like I said, we'll start with the AFC, and instead of going division by division, because that'll I think that'll kind of take probably too long. Let's go with around the table, and starting with Brad. Who are your what is it? Is it
7?
7 now? Yeah, I keep forgetting. Okay, 7. Who are your 7 division or 7 playoff teams for the AFC?
I'll just go by I'll go by division winners first. I think the AFC West is the easiest one. It's still the Chiefs to lose. So until you show me any different, I'm not picking any different. I think Jacksonville's gonna run away with the AFC South this year, unless Tennessee can solve their QB problems. And I'm not sure that's gonna be happening. So I think Jacksonville's a team that's growing. We saw a lot of gains with them, especially on the back half of the year. I like them to win the South. I think the East is, man, I think it's coin flip between the Dolphins and Bills right now. I mean, I think the Dolphins have really closed the gap on the Bills. And I think this is the year where, like you say, this year I'm coming for them. I think they're coming for them. However, man, I think I'm still going to take the Bills, maybe by a game in that division. I think the North is the hardest to predict because there's improvement on Pittsburgh. I mean, shoot, they still haven't had a losing season. I mean, my God, and they were terrible last year.
Yeah, there's no reason that team shouldn't have won more than 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, I still want to. I still think it's a 2-team race between the Bengals and the Ravens. And I think Joe Burrow kind of starting off a little banged up to start the season is not good for the Bengals. In the long run, I think Baltimore wins the division by 1, maybe 2 games. I think the wild card teams will be the Dolphins. I think the Bengals will be the second team, and I predict the third team to be the LA Chargers.
Oh, nice.
Hey, Brad, we have sources saying that you're a Bears fan. You don't know shit.
Yeah, I mean, we know what team he likes now from that comment.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
Vikings. No, sorry.
You wish.
Okay, who's your Super Bowl team coming out of the AFC?
Man, I think it's gonna in the AFC title game. I think it's gonna come down to KC and Miami, and
okay.
I think that again, it's down the long run. If Chris Jones doesn't come back for Kansas City, I think it's a big deal.
Yeah.
He's arguably one of the most dominant defensive frontman players in the league. I think that if he doesn't, he's holding out right now. He has.
Yeah.
He said he's publicly says like, "Hey man, I can wait out. I can wait out till week 8." And I mean, who knows what kind of an effect that has on their defense?
Yeah.
But I still take the Chiefs out of the AFC. Man, they're so good. Mahomes is so good. It's like how can you? I can't bet against them until you see some chinks in the armor.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I guess Nick Bosa too. I mean, I know we're talking about the AFC right now. Nick Bosa is another one that's holding out. I never even realized that until I was watching one of the shows tonight. So, all right, Troy, let's go to you.
All right.
Your 7 teams from the AFC.
All right. So I'll break it down. I haven't broken down into seedings, so I'll go
Okay.
KC out of the West as the 1 seed, Buffalo out of the East as the 2 seed. I had which one? I have Cincinnati as the 3 seed in the North, 4 seed Jacksonville, Miami getting a wild card as a 5 seed, Chargers as a 6 seed, and Pittsburgh sneaking in as a 7 seed.
Really? Okay. All right. So who do you have in the AFC Championship game then?
I have Buffalo and Kansas City again with KC winning it.
Okay. All right. TJ, how about you?
So I'm gonna go by division winners, and then I guess my 3 that are coming in. So I've got the Steelers winning. I've got the Bills, Chiefs. I mean, that's a given. And honestly, I hate to go against Houston because I have a feeling they may do something this year. But I think I'm going to go with Jacksonville as well, with Houston making a wild card.
You think Houston's gonna make a wild card, huh?
I have a feeling Houston may make a wild card.
Okay.
It's a little surprising. Do I think they're going to have like a stellar record to make it into the playoffs? No, but I feel like they will kind of eke it in there. So
Well, you have two surprising predictions right there, because you also said you think Pittsburgh's going to win the AFC North.
Yeah, I don't like the
that-
Ravens or anybody else in that division. So
Okay, all right. So who are your teams then for the AFC Championship game?
So my AFC Championship, I have the Bills and I have the Kansas City Chiefs, and I've got the Bills going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay. All right, Ben. How about you?
Well, you guys know my affiliation here, and I'm actually going to be the homer in my picks here. Overall, the Ravens get a wild card, not the division. The Bengals do win the division.
Okay.
But I have the Ravens representing the AFC in the Super Bowl this year, actually. I think Lamar stays healthy, defense stays healthy, they make that run. I have 1 seed for Kansas City, 2 seed for the Bills. And sorry, Troy, the Bills do Bills things and find a way to lose in the playoffs. I wish it wasn't true. I really do. But I see that being the case. I think Jacksonville is that 4, but it's going to be a really dangerous 4. And I actually have Jacksonville beating Kansas City to play Baltimore in the championship game for the AFC.
Wow.
Do you have a Jacksonville at Baltimore, or
I do.
Baltimore at Jacksonville?
Actually, it would be
whatever it is?
Baltimore at
Okay.
Jacksonville, because if Baltimore is the wild card.
Correct. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got Baltimore going to Jacksonville and winning that game in January to go to the Super Bowl. So I think this is the Trevor Lawrence coming out party, and you get ETN going for, let's say, 1,300 all-purpose yards, 1,400 all-purpose yards, something like that. Kelvin Ridley is in the game again. He's hungry. He wants to prove something, and that defense is legit, man. So I see Doug Peterson making that next miracle run with a team that no one sees coming. As far as my wild cards, I mentioned before, the Ravens. Then I don't know which order this goes in, but I would put the Chargers and the Steelers in those other wild card spots.
Wow. Okay. So you think the Steelers are going to be in the playoffs too?
If TJ Watt's healthy, the team's hard to beat. And looking at the numbers last year, like their sacks were over 3 per game when he's healthy, and barely over 1 when he's not. They won they were winning 3/4 of their games when he's healthy, and they lost 3/4 when he's not. TJ Watt has an argument for MVP, and it's another homer pick. I get that. But I heard that on NFL radio this week, and I was like, it's too much to deny. The guy is an absolute beast. And then Alonzo Highsmith added that defense. The Steelers, again, they're well coached, and Kenny Pickett just has to not suck. If Pickett can just not suck, all the Cubs, they can be competitive.
Throws a Cub shot in there. Nice.
I have to.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So then you okay?
Can I say something real quick? Are you gonna give your predictions, Aaron?
I was gonna. Yeah, I'll give mine quick.
Okay, then I'll wait till you're done. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, all right. So here are mine. I'll make it quick, just because I know we want to get to the NFC here. So, okay, I'm gonna be the only one then, and it's gonna make me sound like a homer, but I'm picking the Jets to win the AFC East. I'm not going to go with seedings here. I'll just go division by division. That's
the perfect time for me to jump in there, because that's exactly what I was going to say. None of the other guys even picked them to make the playoffs.
I know. That's funny. And I just, for some reason, I think their defense I think they have a great defense. I think, the fact that they, again, last year with all the issues they had at quarterback, they still beat Buffalo in at least one of those games. I don't know how they did against Miami or New England, but
they lost both to New England.
Did they?
One on the punt return.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's true. Okay, so, but I mean, that was that. I mean, I think the key, everyone's looking at Aaron Rodgers. I think one of the keys is going to be their running game and the fact that Breece Hall, and of course now they have Dalvin Cook, but if Breece Hall can come back and be what he was before he tore his ACL, I think that's going to make a huge difference. So I'm picking the Jets to win that division. The Bills, I think, will go obviously as a wild card. I'm going to pick Cincinnati to win the AFC North. Baltimore will make it as a wild card. Jacksonville, I'm picking AFC South, and then I'm taking the Chiefs to win the AFC West, obviously, with the Chargers to go as a wild card as well. And then but I'm not saying the Jets are going to the Super Bowl. I still think it's going to be Kansas City winning it. I know it's not a stretch, but I think they might. I could see them playing, maybe even playing the Bills as a wild card, team. The Bills making the NFC AFC Championship game, and losing to Kansas City. So I'm still taking Kansas City out of there, but I think the Jets at least win that division. I guess my question before we move on real quick, and this is kind of for anybody. Number one, no one even picked, looking at that AFC East, no one picked the Patriots at all to even make the, to go as a wild card. Is there any chance? Do any of you guys see a chance at all with their new offense, with O'Brien being there, the offensive coordinator? They have a great defense. Any chance? No. Okay. TJ, no. Troy's shaking his head.
No, they're depleted on talent. They really are.
I'll give you a 10% chance.
10% chance. Okay.
So
wow, that's very generous.
I get it. No, I get it. What I'm saying here is you have a strong running game and defense, and that still wins football games if you coach it right and Belichick is not incompetent.
Sure.
So it's going to take a perfect season from Belichick. He can't screw up. Zero margin for error. But I think that you have Mac Jones is not as bad as people think he is. He's not great, but he's serviceable.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you have a guy there that his rookie year, I mean, he did a hell of a lot better than he did last year.
Right.
And I'm just wondering if bringing in Bill O'Brien's going to make, that big of work. He can get that form back or something.
No, you're right. You've got Zeke. You have Stevenson. You have some running backs to work with. That wide receiving core is cobbled together, but they don't need them.
Yeah.
If they can score 20 points in a game, they can win a game.
Sure.
And that's why I say 10%. It's generous. But if they can keep that top 5 defense all year,
sure.
That offense can just score to 3 times a game. They are in the game. And that part in the NFL I can't argue against.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the NFC here. Brad, we'll start with you again. Why don't you give us your 7 teams in the NFC?
All right. So I think the one division that is going to be, I'm not sure really any of these divisions are that easy to pick.
Yeah.
I do like the Eagles in the East, trailed very close by the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to give the Eagles a run for their money this year.
You think the Giants regress a little bit?
I do. I do. I think that it's hard. Again, it's hard to keep up with the Cowboys and Eagles, man.
Sure.
And when you got some games that kind of roll your way, and you had a favorable schedule, that that's not necessarily the case because they did so well last year.
Yeah.
So I take the Cowboys and Eagles out of the East.
Okay.
Man, I don't want to agree with Vegas about Detroit finishing ahead of Minnesota. I'm not sure I can believe it. Can any of you believe it? Can you say Detroit, the NFC North champion?
It's a little,
I still think Minnesota. I think it's still Minnesota's division to lose, so I'm going to take them.
Okay.
And I think I would take the Lions as a second wild card out of that division.
Okay.
I think out of the South, who knows who's coming out of the South? About the only team I have any confidence in is New Orleans.
Yeah.
And that's not much. In the West, I think 2 teams are going to be really good again: the Niners and the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we know the Cardinals are going to suck, but I think the unknown is going to be the Rams. The Rams, they had a lot of injuries last year, so we didn't see them at their full potential with Matt Stafford again. And
sure.
So, but I still think no matter what, I still think they're the odd team out. I think the Seahawks are are the third wild card team with the Niners winning the division.
Okay, who are you taking in the AFC NFC Championship game?
In the NFC title game, man, it's so hard. I guess I gotta go. I'm gonna go chalk on this and just go Niners Eagles.
Okay, and so then who's in the Super Bowl?
Man, does Brock Purdy prove everybody wrong this year or not?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's Philly. I think
it's Philly again.
Yeah, okay. I think it's another Philly KC Super Bowl, to be quite honest.
Okay. All right. Quick stuff before we go to Troy. I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but apparently I heard yesterday when you mentioned Matt Stafford and him making a comeback. Apparently there's some his wife's in a little hot water. I don't know if she's sleeping on the couch right now or not at their house, but apparently she made she has some weekly podcast,
yeah.
And she came out and told a story about how he feels so out of touch with the young players on the team. And he said to her, made some comment to her about how, it's not like it was 10, 15 years ago where, you get done with practice and you sit around, you play cards, or you play ping pong, you kind of hang out with the guys, you have some beers, all that kind of stuff. He's like, now everyone comes back and they're all on their phones. And he went so far as, in order to learn, according to his wife, in order to learn his teammates' names, like the younger guys, he actually asked one of the trainers to either put together a book or bring him the media guide with all the players' pictures and their names, so that he could look at the names and the pictures, so he knew who the hell all the players were. I thought that was kind of funny. Anyway,
yeah,
it sounded like something that maybe Matt was like, "Honey, I didn't mean for you to go out and tell that on the podcast."
Yeah,
but
right.
Hey, whatever. Okay, Troy, what's your predictions here? Your 7 playoff teams from the NFC.
All right, we got the 1 seed coming out of the West, San Francisco. The 2 seed, the Eagles, barely. I have them tying with the Cowboys actually at the same record, but I have the Eagles getting that 2 seed. I too got Minnesota as the 3 seed in the North, winning that division, and in the South, I'll take the Saints, barely over 500 at 9-8, winning that division. 5 seed is the Cowboys, who tied the Eagles there for the East. 6 seed would be the Lions. And then my sneaky 7 seed, I think I'm going to go with the Giants again to sneak in barely and pick up that last wild card spot.
Okay.
NFC Championship, I think we see a rematch, but this time it's in Frisco. And I think the Niners pull it off this year. So I'm going to take a KC San Francisco Super Bowl rematch.
Okay. All right. Nice. And then who do you? Well, hold on. I guess for our for the Super Bowl predictions here, but all right, TJ, why don't we go with you?
All right. So for the NFC East, I actually have the Eagles winning that one as well. I feel like Dallas is probably, it's going to be blow for blow this season. So I think that it's going to be 1-2 for us. So I have the Eagles winning that with Dallas coming in as a wild card. My number 2 seed, I have the 49ers. And that one, I think it could flip-flop, whichever way. 3 seed, I have the Lions. I kind of do like the Lions this season. 4 seed, I have the Saints. Again, I don't think they're going to have a spectacular season. I'm going to go with what Troy said. 9-8, it ekes them in. Woohoo for them.
Mm-hmm.
I also have Minnesota as a wild card, and I have I might go the Giants as well. I don't like the 3 teams in the NFC East, but I feel like that would be like the only powerful true division, that would bring three teams out. Championship wise, I'd like to see Dallas and the 49ers. Just like the historical, significance of those games always back in the day. I'd love to see that nowadays. So I feel like that would be it. And I'd like to say Dallas would go to the Super Bowl. That's my prediction.
Bills Cowboys rematch.
Yes. I want historical years.
Well, now you're going to have to pick the Bills to beat Dallas, because you just said they're never going to win a Super Bowl with Jerry Jones as their
that's right.
running things. So
I know.
I don't know if you if you remember that. So okay.
Can I add one more thing? I forgot
Yeah.
I forgot to add this when I was going through my list here. I do think we do have one spectacular thing that happens in the NFC this year. Even though they don't win their division, the Dallas Cowboys, I believe we see a new sack record broken with Micah Parsons breaking the sack record this year.
Nice. Okay. All right. Ben, did we lose you?
Not yet. 1 second.
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Well, here while you're getting
That
your
sounds
stuff
promising.
straight. Yeah. Well, you're getting your stuff straight. Let me go through my picks then, since you're okay. And yeah, I don't see a whole lot different from last year from the NFC, but I would agree that Philadelphia wins the NFC East. I'm taking Detroit, not the Vikings, to win the NFC North. I am buying drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit with Detroit. I'd like to say my Packers, but I just don't. It might be next year. I think this year they go maybe 8-9, just barely missed the playoffs. From the NFC South, again, like you all said, who really cares? But it's probably going to be the Saints winning that one, and then NFC West, the Niners. With I'll take Dallas. I'll take the Vikings. If I'm going to try to be an honest an analyst here, I'll take the Vikings to be in the wild card, and then I like Seattle also out of the West to be the wild card, and as far as the NFC Championship game goes, I really kind of feel like the Niners, and I mean, I guess with basically if Philadelphia can win the division, the NFC East, I think I guess what I'm trying to say is their toughest battle is going to be winning their division. I think if they win their division, then they go to the NFC Championship game. But I do think the Niners win this time instead of Philadelphia. So
I think Ben is killing Santa.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Trying to.
What? Oh, there he is. Oh, he's back.
What's all that red and white on your wall in the back? You just killed Santa Claus.
True story. My dad does play Santa Claus from Thanksgiving to New Year's every year. So there's that.
Okay.
My goodness!
All right, Ben, are you ready now? Everything okay?
I am. I have officially emptied the bladder and all the dogs.
CM Punk tried to break into his house.
Yeah.
Chicago Ruffians, man, just rapscallions, really. So, all right. So as far as division winners, I'm not too far off from the rest of you guys. I think the Eagles win the East. I think the Saints win the South. Niners win the West, and the Lions do win the North. It's hard to say that, but I just don't see a way around it right now. I think that Jared Goff has kind of found his own, and there's overall, I love Campbell's energy. So the Lions win the division this year. Wild cards, you guys are going to hate me for this. I've got Cowboys, Vikings, Packers, actually. And I'll justify my pick on why I'm picking my home team here. What I saw in preseason was a dominant defense when they had the right guys in. With depth, by the way. Going through our secondary, our linebackers, our D-line, there is not a weak spot in that defense this year as far as what I'm watching right now. Offensively, I think the discussions to trade for Jonathan Taylor tell me we're going to run the ball a lot, and Aaron Jones and Dillon are there for it. Emmanuel Wilson had a great preseason, but I mean, you can fill in the blank there. If Jones goes down, Kareem Hunt's still out there. I see the Packers going for it, and we have cap space for the first time in forever. So looking at the Packers, I think that we are a one and done though in the playoffs. We don't win that first game, we get smoked. So I'm actually going with the Vikings coming out of the NFC this year in the playoffs. And this is more based on Kirk Cousins back against the wall. The guy does best under pressure. He does best when no one believes in him. It makes me puke in my mouth saying the Vikings is the Super Bowl, but I have a very purple Super Bowl planned right now with the Ravens beating the Vikings.
As long as the Vikings lose in the Super Bowl, I really don't care. That's
right.
That's the key is getting them to a big game and then watching them just completely collapse.
So, and this is the Kirk Cousins show, man. It really is. Looking at what I'm seeing in Minnesota right now is they're going to be that team that no one takes seriously, especially in the playoffs, and they just keep winning. And then they go to Philadelphia, and a Vikings fan sadly gets decapitated by an Eagles fan, and it gets ugly. But the Vikings, I think, finally stopped choking in the NFC playoffs and choke the Super Bowl instead.
You know, it's funny though when you just described though that everyone is against them or you know picking against them and they just keep winning. That's kind of what it was last year. I mean, nobody took them seriously, and they ended up proving everybody right in the playoffs. So you know, I again, as long as if the Packers can't make the playoffs and the Vikings do, and then they lose and disappoint all their fans, I'm fine with that. So
it's uncanny to me watching the Vikings play. It's kind of like Bears fans, and I think the Bears are going to suck. They're good. When Bears fans think they're good, they suck. It's very funny that way. The Vikings fans, they're going to disappear the first half of the year because they don't expect much this year. And then all of a sudden, you're going to see them loud and proud by Thanksgiving. Lonely as hell. And you just going to want to. It's like, look, dude, you weren't here in September. Why are you here now?
Yeah,
that's Vikings fans, man. Like, it's a trash franchise, trash fans. Bring it, Minnesota fans. Come on. DWB Big Ben on social media. You are a trash franchise and trash fan base. So
wow, okay.
I'll respect Bears fans at least. They're there, even though they suck. They're still there. Vikings fans crawl under a rock as soon as they lose 4 games. So anyway,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
All that said, Vikings, in spite of all my sayings there, do make the Super Bowl this year, and they choke again. And I laugh in Minnesota's faces happily as a very mean, bad man.
Okay, all right. So let's just go around the room right now one more time and give the Super Bowl picks, and then we'll move on. Kind of wrap up. We'll do the CM Punk rant real quick, a couple minutes because we ran a little bit long. But okay, Brad, let's start with you. Your Super Bowl again was what?
Was KC Philly.
KC over Philly again or not?
Yeah. I think
okay.
Again, it's until Patrick. I think Patrick Mahomes is like the new Jordan, LeBron of the NFL.
I was going to say, is he the new Brady?
No, one dude, 100%. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
You know, what's funny is when I first heard somebody say that, I was like, "Oh, come on, let's stop it." But he does seem like real. That guy that just
clearly for real.
Yeah, for sure.
So I take him as a favorite and change my mind.
Okay, who's your pick for? Throw out a pick for MVP.
MVP. I mean,
or should I come back to you? Give you a minute to think about it.
That's always so hard though, because I mean, anybody could come out of, I don't want to say come out of left field, but like take that next step and then play at that MVP level.
Yeah.
When you've got like Mahomes or Allen or Burrow or Lamar or anybody that's playing just as good, but they're like, oh, somebody's new, so I don't know. If I were to put money on it, I would go with Mahomes.
Okay, Troy, how about remind us again your Super Bowl pick?
I got a KC San Francisco rematch from just a few years ago, and I think San Francisco gets the better of them this time. So I think San Francisco 49ers is the Super Bowl champions this year.
Okay.
And MVP pick, that's tough. I mean, I think the betting favorite honestly would be Mahomes if you had to put money on it. But here's one I'm going to throw out there. If I'm going to back up what I'm saying earlier about Micah Parsons breaking the sack record, I'm going to give him the MVP also.
Oh, nice. That's a good one. Okay, all right.
I would say that's worthy if you break that sack record, dude. I mean, how could?
Yeah, for sure. And
that would be a shame if he didn't.
Yeah. Yep. All right, TJ, remind us again for the Super Bowl. What were your picks?
It is the Bills versus the Cowboys. Bills win it.
Bills win it. Nice. All right.
And MVP and the Madden cover of Madden 25 will be Micah Parsons.
Oh, okay. All right. You're going with Parsons too. All right. Ben, remind us again your Super Bowl picks.
I got the Ravens over the Vikings with Lamar Jackson as MVP.
Lamar Jackson. Okay. And then, for me, I'm picking San Fran beating Kansas City obviously it's in Las Vegas. I almost said in San Francisco. So San Francisco is going to get the better of them. And Oh gosh. I was almost going to say Aaron Rodgers wins his 5th MVP, but I won't. I won't go that far.
Blasphemer.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out and I'm going to say, since you guys picked, the two of you picked Micah Parsons, I'm going with Nick Bosa. If San Francisco wins, I'll throw that out there. And then we'll have to get Marco, because I know he picked a battle of 17-0 Bears and 17-0
16-0-1.
Chiefs.
16-0-1.
Oh, that's right, 16-0-1, because they tie each other. So we'll have to find out who wins in the Super Bowl from him tomorrow. Anyway, okay,
they'll play forever. Like it'll keep going.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Ben, why don't let's do your CM Punk, and then we'll wrap it up with maybe a few college football games that we're looking at tomorrow or Saturday. So go ahead.
All right, man. So, guys, bear with me. There's a lot of anger here. I'll fully admit this, and this is a little bit bitter. CM Punk needs to go away. He represents a city that is trash in Chicago, that thinks that they are more valuable than the state with their own flag. He represents everything wrong with the industry at this point, who thinks he is more valuable than the company itself, to a point where Tony Khan had to give him his own freaking show and Collision to keep him around. Punk, if you're watching this, go away. We don't like you. You are trash. You are vermin. Be the adult, dude. Yeah, Perry was out of line. Perry was wrong this weekend. Be a freaking adult. Walk by him in Gorilla. Go to your match. Go through your night. Have a good time in London. Why? A year later, are you fighting young talent backstage again and creating more of a kerfuffle and problem for Tony Khan? Do you know who the boss is? Do you respect your boss? Do you respect the industry? Punk, go away for all of our sake. Let me enjoy the industry again, and just go do your podcast and keep hating Colt Cabana. I can handle that. But stay out of my ring and stay out of my life. CM Punk, Chicago, get out. That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Fair. I
Wow.
think that's a fair comment, man.
So can
this is high comment. How many times now in multiple companies that this has gone on, and you see it publicly, and like any smart adult fan could easily delineate the difference between the entertainment and the BS.
Thank you.
And it's just like in the workplace, in any of your places of work or employment, regardless of what you do, there are guidelines about how you treat people and how you conduct yourself as a professional. There are kids that literally they will talk shit about me daily, but I don't care. I'm just like, I mean, if I hear something like in the room, whether it be about me or something, then I'll say something. But I don't lose sleep over that. It's because you're bigger than that. Yeah, you don't you don't lower your maturity and your professionalism in order to make you look bad publicly. You just don't do it.
So Troy, I heard you asking the question to give context to everyone who's not aware of what happened.
Exactly, yeah.
So a year ago at All Out in Chicago, there's the famous media scrum with CM Punk where he called out the Young Bucks and the Elite in general for their EVP status with AEW, and just basically just calling them out and blasting them. Again, outside of kayfabe, just shooting in the interview and blasting guys he doesn't like, going to business for himself and creating more problems for the guys he's supposedly working for. Now, what happened this year, so after all that, the full story there is he got in a fight backstage, physical altercation, real. When I say shoot, that means real. Shoot, fight backstage between his friends and the Elite and their friends, which resulted in multiple suspensions. CM Punk is older than I am. The man is in his 40s. Like, grow up, bro. So this past weekend, they're in London, the biggest show in AEW history, 80,000+ in attendance. Now, a few weeks ago on Collision, which is a show that Tony Khan has gifted CM Punk to keep him away from people he doesn't like. Again, Jack Perry's in the wrong. Don't hear me incorrectly here. Jack was wrong. He wanted to use real glass in a pre-shot segment. And Punk's like, bro, bad idea. You don't have to take the risk. This is pre-shot. Be smart. And Jack Perry was petulant and a child about it. In his Hour Zero match this past weekend, he looks at the camera and says, looking at a car he's about to get put through the back windshield of, saying, it's real glass, cry me a river. Again, watching it live, I didn't hear it. I didn't know what happened until way after the fact. The stories immediately after were that Punk, on his way to his opening fight in the main card, has a physical altercation with Jack Perry backstage and needed security to escort him after his match to his locker room. This is 2 major pay-per-views now that he's been a part of that he can't get away from without getting into an altercation with other talent backstage. It's so embarrassing. To Brad's point, I've been told to F off to my face from employees before. Like I run operations in a manufacturing environment. People tell me things that most people never hear. It's not my spot to go to that level. Cuss me out, I will say I wish you the best, and please leave the building. Punk needs to know his place here. Be a professional. Suck it up, Buttercup. Trust talent relations to take care of Jack in the long run. And you're worried about one comment being made that no one else understands. Grow up, man. Like, that's so middle school. It's not even my 6th grade daughter is more mature than that. Grow up.
Yeah, because I mean, even though Jack Perry may be one of the pillars of AEW, that CM Punk is still bigger than that. I hate to say
Absolutely.
it. So why do you? Yeah, I mean,
But it's his job to help elevate people to that level.
Exactly. And that's what good coaches do. That's what good colleagues do. Is that they support each other, they push each other, and clearly, he's on his own agenda, and it's folding out publicly, and it's kind of uncomfortable to see.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. As you said, it's not his spot. Is it my spot or is it his spot? Not his spot, not any spot, my spot.
Well played, sir. Well played. But no, like I said, guys, it's just I hate to blast any talent that makes people happy. I've made a point in my life as I've gotten older that I hate to kill joy. There's too much anger and angst in the world to kill joy, and Punk brings a lot of joy to a lot of people. I understand that. But at this point, I'm looking at this and saying this guy is a net negative. He needs to be addressed and either improve or get out.
Okay.
But Aaron, to your point, overall, the event, if you've not seen All In yet, a lot of great moments, a lot of great matches. Very good event. I'd say probably second best of the year, only behind Forbidden Door for all of wrestling. Phenomenal event. Again, if you've not watched it yet, it's worth watching. Check it out.
I heard the middle was a little slow.
There's moments that if you're not tracking, I can see that. But you started so high and it ends so high that it's hard to really match that all the way through a 4-hour show. Mm-hmm. But even your Hour Zero, you have 2 matches that frankly go above and beyond what you see in many premium live events in other companies now. Definitely, if you not watch, take a look. It's good wrestling. It's good entertainment, and worth the watch.
Okay, all right. Well, let's finish up with like I've said, this is the first full week, and I mean tonight I think there's about like 10 games, 10 mm-hmm. college football games, including now. You guys correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't remember, now granted, it's not like it's not Michigan and Ohio State, but Nebraska and Minnesota are starting out tonight. And I think there are a few other games this coming weekend where you have conference, rivals or conference opponents playing each other in the first week. And I don't remember that has that happened much over the years? I guess I always feel like, most of these big teams, like Big Ten teams, start off about the first 3 weeks with a bunch of cupcakes, or maybe they play like one, high ranked, non-conference opponent. But I found that interesting. Maybe if you guys can think of other times when that's happened, let me know. But was someone going to say something?
Well, I think so. The only time I remember like conference play starting out right away is gonna be for like your lower divisions.
Okay.
So like Conference USA, the American Athletic Conference, those smaller ones, they start right away. That way they can.
Sure.
I think they do like 2
Right.
games, and they'll put in some like BS game, and then they'll continue to go from there.
Well, and I'm wondering if that's something we're going to start seeing more and more, especially as all these, I mean,
The
once
conference get bigger,
once the Big Ten gets
Yeah.
to 18 teams, I'm not really sure if you're going to be able to play too many non-conference games. But why don't we just go around as we close out here, and give me one game that maybe you're looking forward to on Saturday, or even I know there are some tomorrow. So why don't we, Brad? I've started with Brad. Why don't we start with TJ this time? Is there a college football game you're for sure going to be watching on Saturday?
Oh yeah, of course, dude. I'm
Well,
gonna
of
watch
course.
Texas whoop up on Rice.
Ha!
Oh yeah,
All
you
right,
laugh
right.
now.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
watch.
Texas
Well, no,
game day, beans and rice. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, look, TJ's right. I agree. TJ, you're completely correct. Keep going, buddy.
Yeah. I'm gonna find
Hook
you
'em.
there, sir. One of these
Hook 'em.
days, I'll see him punk you myself.
All right,
But
guys,
no,
come on.
I think the Texas Rice game is going to be one to watch, just because did Quinn Ewers truly mature? He cut his mullet
Right.
off. Is he truly matured? Now the other big question Texas has is, who do they have to replace Bijan Robinson? They've got some stout running backs. Their receiving core is fine. Their offensive line finally is doing something this year. Defensively, I think we lost one main starter. But the biggest thing that they're looking at right now are your quarterback and your running back. So I think that's going to be my game to watch, to see if is Texas going to fall to a in-state rival right now. And fingers crossed, I'm going to say no, but at the same time, I have a feeling we're just going to give a nice little butt whooping, and hopefully Quinn actually matured.
Okay. All right, Ben, how about you?
North Carolina, South Carolina is the matchup for the weekend for me. You've got a tight Vegas line. You've got rivals for border state rivalry. I think North Carolina whoops up on South Carolina personally. South Carolina's team is feisty, but they're not good. I think North Carolina is competitive because they're in the ACC this year. Overall, this is still a matchup I want. Again, the homer in me, I want to watch Southeastern Louisiana versus Mississippi State, Wisconsin, Buffalo, Mercer, Ole Miss, Elkhorn State, Southern Miss. But reality is North Carolina, South Carolina is going to be a blast of a game. Close second for me is LSU, Florida State, because that sets the tone for the whole playoff scene down the line.
Okay. Brad?
I'm interested as just as a side game for me is Ohio State IU.
Fair enough.
It's a game where Tom Allen's got a lot to prove in Bloomington after having really good COVID season in the Big Ten, but has really been kind of mid, even subpar ever since. Again, IU's not been known for football, but when you have a good season, you start to build some expectations.
Sure.
And not to mention, I don't think they've ever hosted Ohio State on opening weekend before, so it's kind of a good thing for them to be able to just get them off the plate, and
Yeah.
maybe you catch up and stay competitive with Ohio State making some mistakes in week one. So
Is there a buzz there at all, Brad, by chance?
not really. They got a lot of young talent coming in, just because basically some of their upperclassmen that was in the recruiting class previous to Tom Allen's hiring was not his players, and so those guys are finally all out of the program, and he's got all of his current players in the system at your sophomore, junior, senior levels. So I think it's a kind of put up or shut up year for Tom Allen to at least make a decent showing in the Big Ten. But that's hard being in that division, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Troy, how about you?
Be a little bit of a homer here. I want to see if how Michigan does with Jim Harbaugh not on the sideline. They're giving 36 points to East Carolina. Curious to see how that plays out. Michigan's defense, they just seem that Michigan defense just every year they rise to the occasion, and especially when they play these cupcake teams and stuff.
So do they cover? Do they cover the 36 or not?
You know what? I kind of think this is a showcase
Right.
for I don't know who. I know they're doing a coaching rotation, but I think whoever's leading the charge this week and whoever I think they're going to want to run that score up. They're going to want to prove a point, and the players are probably going to want to prove something to their coach too. That they got his back. They're here, and so I kind of do expect them to cover. I think it might be like 49-10, something like that.
Okay. All right.
We agree, Troy. It's magic.
Troy is not CM Punk, Ben. Troy is not CM Punk. All right.
Are you sure?
Settle down. All right.
Okay.
LSU Florida State looks fun to me. I agree with what Ben was saying there. It kind of sets the tone for the whole playoff atmosphere right away. But the other one, kind of sneaky under the radar, the actual first Monday Night Football game of the year is Clemson and Duke with an ACC matchup to start the season. Ooh, so that should be interesting.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I'll say this. We're pretty busy this weekend, so I would love to say I have all these different games that I want to watch, but I'm probably only going to have time to watch the Buffalo Wisconsin game. I told my wife, whatever we're doing, we have to be home.
Go Bulls!
Yeah.
Aaron, bring the kids over here. I can wear them out. My kids wear them out. I've got 3 screens going the whole day. Come on, buddy. I got space for you.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, look at this guy. Yeah.
Oh my God.
What is going on, Marco?
The man, the myth, the legend.
Round of applause.
That's right. Yeah. You must have heard me talking about getting your prediction, Marco, of what's going to happen in the Super Bowl between 16-0-1 Kansas City and 16-0-1 Chicago.
Oh my God, I'm going to lose so much money on that bet because the Chicago Bears offensive line somehow got worse, and Justin Fields is going to get destroyed, and we're going to tank for Caleb. I don't know, man. It's going to be crazy in Chicago. When they start off 0-4, when they start off 0-4, and Justin Fields has more interceptions than touchdowns, the city's going to burn.
I love it.
Well, here, since you just got on here, well, why don't we all we did today was pretty much go through our predictions for the NFL season, like with the playoff teams. So we're not going division by division, but why don't you give us your 7 teams from the AFC first, and then who's going to represent the AFC? And I mean, I think I already know your answer for the AFC champion, but right.
So we'll go division by division, right? So the Chiefs will win their division. The Bills are going to they'll get in. I got the Jets winning their division. I have out in the South. Man, that's a really gross division to really pick a winner out of. But somebody's got to go, right? Oh man. Give me the Jaguars. I'll take a 10-win Jaguars beats out a 10-win Titan team to get into the playoffs. That's going to be a tougher division than people think. Amongst the 3 teams that are playing football, the Texans are going to suck, and they're not going to do great.
Sneaking into the wild card.
Get out of here.
He said no. To be fair to TJ, let's not pile on. He did say they would miss the wild card, but it was good. He thinks they're going to surprise him.
I thought he had him in.
No, did you?
I had him at the wild card, but the low end of the wild card.
Okay.
Yeah, he said he thinks they barely sneak in. He said he thinks they surprise people this year. I don't disagree with him. I think Texans are going to be better than what people give them credit for too, but I don't see him sneaking into the wild card.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I got the Jets winning. So I got the Jets winning and the Bills going in as a wild card. I think the Dolphins will probably take the other wild card. The North, that's going to be the Bengals. They're not going to run away with it in terms of right away. But I don't have any faith in Lamar Jackson playing a whole season. I don't think somebody said somebody here said in the preseason game when the Browns were up big on the Chiefs that the Browns were going to the Super Bowl, and I think the Chiefs ended up winning that game. That doesn't count, but either way, so we'll take the Bengals out of there. So is that your 7 out of the AFC, or do I still need one more?
Yeah, that's 7. Yep.
So and then they have the Super Bowl and through the AFC Championship game goes through Arrowhead, so that's where that game will be played against the Jets. I'll take the Jets in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, and then the Chiefs win. Take a look at the
NFC.
East.
Yep.
The East, the Eagles. Again, always a tough division, but I think they're going to run away with it. But I don't think they're going to have as great a season as they had last year. I think their schedule, they benefited from the schedule last year. They're going to play first base schedule this year, so they're going to run into some trouble. But we might get a wild card Giants out of the East. I don't understand, and I know that the 49ers have been in 3 of the last 4 NFC Championship games. I think that they're not that good. I don't. Their offense isn't as amazing to me. Maybe because I'm a Chiefs fan. Their defense was good, but not great. I think the Seahawks come out of that division this year, and the 49ers are the wild card. The Rams and Cardinals are going to fight for first round pick, and then the Lions are the darlings of the NFC and the NFC North. I think it's really the Vikings division to lose. But the Lions are going to do what the Chargers always do. They're going to come out and make a lot of noise. I probably put money on them winning week 1 against the Chiefs. But then they're going to see when the calendar flips to November, and then they're going to start laying eggs, and they're going to lose it. So I actually think only one playoff team is going to come out of the NFC North, and it'll be the Vikings. The South is where my surprise pick is going to be, and that's the Saints. I think the Saints are going to make a lot of noise with a very weak schedule in a division where the Buccaneers stink. The Panthers are on the rebuild. They're 500. And then the Falcons, for some reason, can never put it together. But that's going to be a division where the Saints kind of get out of everybody's way and really surprise people. So is that 6 or 7? Do I need to throw another wild card in there?
I think I need another wild card. Yeah,
I think I'll take the Cowboys. I think I'll take the Cowboys because I love when Cowboys fans get excited that they're going to do something. So that'll be fun.
poor TJ.
It must be football season. We're back to being rivals again.
Yeah, wait till hockey season rolls around.
Okay, so who's coming out of the NFC to play the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
The Saints. I got the
you
Saints.
You think really?
The Saints are my sleeper pick to just really shock the world. And as per usual, the title games are going to be more exciting than the Super Bowl. However, the last Super Bowl was real exciting. I mean, you can't argue that. It was the highest scoring Super Bowl ever. But I think it's going to be I'll take Saints Seahawks in an NFC title game that'll be played in New Orleans. And those are my predictions.
You have Dennis Allen taking his team to the Super Bowl and Geno Smith taking his team to the championship.
Hey.
Yeah.
Were you out in the sun too long today?
I've been watching terrible Pop Warner for too long.
Yeah.
I think one of the kids from Pop Warner hit him in the head.
Helmet? You don't need a helmet.
Yeah, watch this.
Okay, well, and then since you're on, before we leave, have you had a chance to watch a whole lot of, I mean, I know you're one of the wrestling guys, or you try to kind of keep up with it, because I don't know if you heard it, but Ben had a pretty epic rant about CM Punk before you came on.
Me?
Yeah, you. I'm looking at you with the Florida shirt.
I have to go back and listen to it. I'm not a CM Punk fan, so.
Okay. Well, because I was going to see if you maybe had something opposing to say, but you probably would agree with everything he said. So you'll have to watch it and then maybe give us a comment.
Did you see the latest incident?
I did not.
Okay.
Okay.
You'll have to listen back to it.
You have to listen back
into another altercation backstage.
Oh, you guy's a jerk off, man. I can't stand CM Punk. Just go away. Just go away.
That's exactly what Ben said.
Hey.
Pretty much, yeah. Right after he insulted everybody in Chicago, and yeah, it was pretty epic. I will
Was
say.
I wrong, Aaron?
Well, and I say like I'm not gonna. I don't want to insult everybody in Chicago. I just
sounds like somebody's a little sour over the Brewers dropping a series to the
You
Cubbies.
elected a woman named Lightfeather as your mayor multiple times. I have
Wasn't it
choice
wait,
words
wasn't it
for all of that.
Lightfoot?
town.
No, it's Lightfoot, right?
Yeah, Lori
Not
Lightfoot. She's
Lightfoot. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
even
not
worse. Lightfeather, Lightfoot.
Okay,
He
all
looks
right.
stoned the entire time.
It's great.
Okay, guys. Well, and Marco, you have any college football games you're paying attention to this weekend? With the first full weekend of college football, that was what we were talking about right before you came on.
I'm watching Coach Prime. I think they're going to do something. They're going to make some noise.
You think so?
I'm all things Buffaloes. Let's go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Who do they got this weekend?
TCU.
TCU.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
30-point dogs, man. 30-point dogs.
I think 30. I thought it was 20.
Oh, the Buffaloes are 30-point dogs.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So
yeah.
and then then just watch some. We're in Big Ten country now with my son being a senior, so we got to kind of start.
I think everywhere's Big Ten country now.
It is, right? And sea to signing sea.
West. Yep. Even California is Big Ten country. Yeah.
Signed this kid from India. Yeah, we're in Big Ten country.
All right. Well, everybody have a great Labor Day weekend. Get some well needed rest, and we'll see everybody next week to kind of talk about opening weekend of the NFL season and all that fun stuff. So everybody have a great week and take care.
Quick plugs, guys. Sorry.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, sorry.
I want to take a moment to say, guys, I'm going to start 2 shows next week. The first one will be Offside Outlaws to be our soccer show. It'll be here on Death of Bacon. Show number 2 will be the Slab of Bacon college football show here for Death of Bacon. So we'll highlight the week that was and the week that's coming for both those shows in both the world of soccer and college football. So please join us. I'll have some of these guys on as we go through the course of the season, as well as some other guests. So I'm looking forward to having you on with us. And thank you for your support. And again, follow us here at Death of Bacon, as well as our various social media outlets we're going with. So
yeah, we'll have to start promoting that stuff more when we put on more content and also I'm trying to get it set up. I've been trying to do our show here on our Kick channel too. For those that did not see my little spiel yesterday, just to try to kind of maybe get some more attention over there. But anyway, then Brad, I wanted to give you a chance to talk about
in about 8-9 days. I'm going to be competing in a 20-game NES speedrun tournament called the Big 20. And I'm using it as an opportunity to do 2 things. One is I've always wanted to kind of compete and do something like that, and kind of like a marathon. Maybe you ain't gonna win, but you're gonna finish. So this is gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna finish it. I'm pretty confident I could get. They're expecting anywhere from like about 100 to, they say on the high end of maybe 150 runners. I think I could make the top 50. I think I can make the top third.
Wow.
So. Yeah, so I'm going to give it the good old college try, and I'm going to, after this, I'm going to play some Castlevania until I hit my face against the wall and hit a save point, and then I'll come back and beat my head against it tomorrow.
All right, cool. Yeah. Well,
I'm using it as an opportunity to just raise funds for our high school's esports teams. So I included in the chat right now that. Oops, son of a gun. It's Giants Esports on Twitch.
Okay.
And if you follow or donate, subscribe, anything like that, I don't keep any of it. All of it goes towards that esports lab. So we're gonna, buy like new peripherals, controllers, new gaming chairs, stuff like that, in order to kind of suit our lab up. Just because we're trying to keep this as low cost for them as possible.
Sure.
It's that stuff's expensive, especially for any inner city kids. So we're trying to make it as feasible as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something I love the idea of like high school esports and that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of kids that aren't necessarily athletes, or maybe aren't even into sports that much, and it gives them another opportunity to, to participate, do some after school activities and that kind of thing, and get that competitive. Socialize, get that competitive. I mean, if you're like me, I was never good at really any sports, but I was very competitive. And so I really had no outlet to actually get that competitive fire out.
And that's a great thing about it, is like it requires the kids to maintain their grades just like regular sports. And it's something cool for them to do. We're actually pioneering something brand new at our high school in our state, that we're going to be broadcasting on Twitch through this channel that I'm playing on.
Okay.
We're going to be broadcasting all their matches this year. So games from like Smash Bros. And Fortnite and Apex and Valorant and Rocket League, you name it. Like you're going to see that stuff come through on that channel.
Cool. Very cool. Okay.
Aaron, don't sell yourself short. I heard you were a hell of a Chutes and Ladders player.
Yeah, there were a number of boards that went flying, and I was a little too competitive, but anyway. So, all right, guys, now let's we'll make sure we put, like I said, we'll put some stuff on the in the group about the new shows, and then Brad, I think usually when you go live, I see it, but I don't know if it's on your personal profile or if it's in the group. Usually. I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I usually share it on my personal page and Dad's Bacon page.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, everyone, like I said, have a great Labor Day weekend, and we'll see everybody next week.
All right, take care, guys.
Yeah.